Today, we are talking about how to be relaxed and look natural in your photos. And one of the top things people worry about with their photos, with their wedding photos, engagement photos, is they don't want to look super awkward, super posed. They don't want to look stiff. They don't want to feel, and they don't want to feel that way either. They don't want to feel like, oh, this is so weird. I hate this. I don't know what I'm doing. And, that's like one of the biggest fears a lot of people have about their weddings. And so we're going to be talking about how you can kind of overcome that, where instead of like completely dreading your photos, you actually enjoy it. And when you get them back and you're like, wow, we look like we're having a good time. We look like we're really relaxed and enjoying life. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. So if you are one of those people that you're kind of concerned about how you're going to feel and look in your photos, today is going to be super helpful for you. And I've talked about this probably a few times. I've written blog posts about this. I have like a posing guide I've even put out, and that's honestly, it's that important. That's why I keep going over this stuff, and I think I'm going to maybe hit on some points that I haven't hit on before. So if you've watched other videos and things I've done, I would still kind of check this out because there may be something new that I'm going to say that I've never talked about before. Maybe I've learned something since then. Who knows? So let's talk about it. So first of all, I think there's certain reasons and situations where people feel uncomfortable. And it applies to your wedding photos. It also applies to just general things in life. So in most situations, if you're dealing with something new, you're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. For example, anytime I go someplace new and I have to do something I've never done before, I feel uncomfortable. Like, I'm one of those people, I will feel uncomfortable. So, for example, like if I go, where did I go recently? If I go to a new wedding venue, if I'm photographing at a new wedding venue, I'm going to have a little bit of that uncomfortable feeling because I've never been there before. So when I show up, I'm like, okay, where do I park? Where do I go in? Where do I store my stuff? Where do I meet people? So there's just a lot of stuff that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to expect. I've never practiced it before. So like another example, if I were to have to try a new sport or a new activity, like a game, and I've never played it before, I'm not good at it, and I'm doing this in front of other people, that's going to be one of those situations where I'm going to feel very uncomfortable, and I have to perform. So yeah, so like, especially with me, if we're talking about sporting or any time where there's a performance aspect to it, it definitely can make me feel very uncomfortable because I'm one of those people that wants to do well, and I don't want to fail. So I think a lot of people may feel that way about photos or whatever. They don't want to, look at it and have everyone look at their photos and be like, God, those are awful. You really did not do a very good job with that. Excuse me. So that's in general what makes people feel uncomfortable. So as far as for your wedding, for your photos, if we can remove as many of those things, then I think you'll feel better about it. I think you'll feel more comfortable. If we just can remove as many of those things you're concerned about, those things that make us feel uncomfortable. So as far as some of the things people, most people are not models. I mean, I guess I've dealt with some that are pretty good in front of a camera, but I can't think of a single one that's been like an official model. And so people don't know how to stand or what to do. They may not feel confident about their smile. I hear that a lot. A lot of people say, I don't like my smile. And people don't want to look posed or fake. And, putting all this together is just very stressful. And like I said, if we can remove as many of these things that stress people out, photos can turn from being something that's just miserable into something you actually enjoy. So I'm going to go over several tips and different things you can do to, make it that way, make it fun. So one of the biggest things is making sure you are comfortable with your photographer. I mean, think about it. Anytime you meet someone new, there's that uncomfortable feeling. Like, I don't know what to talk about with you. I don't know who you are. I don't necessarily trust you. And so, like, if you just met someone and they're asking you to do things that you already feel uncomfortable about, it's like you're multiplying that. So, like, again, if I was asked to play games or play a sport with somebody I don't know, it's going to make it even worse, because I'm like, I don't know who you are and I don't know what I'm doing. So it's like worse. So as far as like how you can fix this problem, when you're picking your photographer, make sure it's someone you like, and then you want to get to know them before the actual shoot. So I hop on phone calls, I do meetings, I do emails with my couples. So, they have a good feel for who I am, and we know each other, and we're kind of comfortable with each other before we ever actually do any photos. Now, one of the things I will suggest in this is make sure both of you are involved. Okay. Guys usually hate photos more than girls. But for some reason they get left out of this process. And then like they show up on the engagement session or the wedding day, and it's like the first time I've ever met them. And so there's like this 10-minute period where I'm trying to warm them up and get them to know me. So if you could involve them in the phone calls and the meetings, that process is just sped up, and they will feel comfortable with me so much faster. And the next thing is, know what to expect from your photographer. How does your photographer do things? Like, how do they believe in posing people? Are they very quiet? Do they do things candidly? Is there a lot of movement? Is it a long session, a short session? It's just very different how each photographer handles things. And that's one of those things, if you know what to expect, then you know what they're going to do, and you're going to feel more comfortable. Okay, it's like, if someone warns you, hey, there's about to be a loud noise, you're not going to freak out because it's coming. But if they don't warn you, you're going to freak out when there's a loud noise. And another thing, as far as being comfortable with your photographer, share all the things that are freaking you out. So like, if you don't know how to pose, if you don't like the way your arms look, if you think you have a bad smile, share that information with them, and maybe they can explain how they're going to do stuff to fix it, or at least they'll know in advance that's something that you are worried about, and they can take care of it. Okay, like, if I know someone is worried about their smile, then I will work really hard to tell them or make them smile for real. But I also tell them, hey, your smile looks fake. Let's stop that. All right. Next step, or more stuff. I forgot there's more stuff. Don't let the wedding be the first time you do photos. Maybe 3 times out of the year this happens to me. I almost always do engagement shoots, because I want that interaction. I want to do the photos with them. I want to build that relationship before the wedding day. I mean, it still works out okay when I show up on the wedding and it's like the first time I've done stuff with them. But there's that awkwardness at first, that not knowing what to expect, that you don't want that as much. So do engagements or do a bridal session, but do something where you're taking photos with them and it's not the wedding day. So you can have that experience and you can see how each other, does things. So, I mean, it's good on my end as well. So like it helps me know what to expect from the couple. Like, I'll find out what they're good at as far as being in photos and what they struggle with. And so I'll be able to, on the wedding day, know better how to help them out. If it just happens on the wedding day and I've never met them or worked with them, it's a little harder to fix things. All right, and now the actual tips for during the shoot. And I think I might have skipped something, but that's okay. So a big thing I would say is, guys, your mindset. Mindset affects so many things in your life. Just how you think about things, how you perceive things. If you come into your shoot with a positive attitude and you're thinking good thoughts and you're happy, things are going to go much better. If you come in saying, God, I hate this. This is going to be so horrible. I'm not going to like any of these photos. It's going to be awkward. Then yes, it probably will be. So having that mindset that it's going to be good will help out. And, if you just come in thinking, okay, we're going to get 4 to 5 good photos. That's all we need. That's pretty easy to do, I would think. Because, really all you need is 4 or 5 ones for save the dates and maybe a few prints. So if you come in with that mindset and then all of a sudden you end up with 30 great ones, you're going to be so much happier in the end. So have low expectations, I guess, but also still be positive. And I love this one as well, setting up rewards for good behavior as part of your mindset. So, you're going to come in very positive if at the end of this, you're going to be rewarded. So afterwards, if y'all are going to go out to eat at your favorite restaurant, we reward our children with things. You have to bribe them, I guess. And that just makes your mindset positive because you're like, okay, when this is over, I get something awesome. If I'm good, I get something awesome. All right. So thinking about your clothing, wear something in general that you're comfortable with and that you like. Don't buy something new that you hate and it's uncomfortable, because then you're going to feel miserable the whole time during the shoot because you're like, man, I hate these clothes. It's uncomfortable. I'm not going to look good in them. So try them on before, wear them around, make sure they're good. You still want them to be somewhat fancy and look good, but don't just put on something that you're just miserable in. All right, some things you can do beforehand, and I may have this out of order, but whatever. Practice. Take some photos with each other, selfies, whatever, and just practice that interaction with each other. And you might learn some things like it works out best if I'm on this side and he's on that side. It works out best if I tickle him or pinch his butt. It just kind of figures things out. But then again, you can also figure out what doesn't work, and you can share all that with your photographers so they already kind of know this is what they need. This is the kind of help they need from me. All right, the location. Pick a place that you like and feel comfortable with. So again, guys, it's important, you're picking out things that you like. You're not forcing this into a situation where it's negative. If there's some place that's really special to you guys, then pick something like that. If you're really self-conscious and you don't want to have a bunch of people looking at you, then pick a place where it's not going to be crowded. Okay. If you really hate, if you're allergic to something, don't pick a place where you're going to be sneezing and coughing the whole time. Really think about these things. You want to remove as many of those bad barriers as possible, so there's only good experiences happening. Think about the time of day or the date. So, if you're wanting to do engagement photos right now, it may be kind of cold. If you're wanting to do it in August, it's probably going to be hot. And thinking about when you're doing it, if you try and do it at 7 a.m, are you going to be fully awake? Are you going to be happy about being awake that early? If you do it after a long day of work, how are you going to be feeling about that? So again, just consider all these things and try and line it up where it's positive, and there are no negative sides to it, so you can feel comfortable and actually enjoy it. All right, now here's some things you can actually do to kind of relax during the shoot. My big thing is I talk to people, I ask questions, I say stuff, I'm goofy, stupid, whatever you want to say. So interacting with your photographer, it's very hard to be extremely self-conscious when you're having a conversation. As I'm talking, it's very hard for me to think about, I wonder if I look stupid in this beanie, because I am having a conversation with you guys. Now, if I stop, then I think about it. But, as I'm talking, I haven't thought about it at all. Other things I do, I make the couple interact with each other. So again, you're interacting, you're doing things, you're not thinking about the camera. So like, as I mentioned earlier, pinching butts, whispering into ears, picking someone up and spinning around, dancing with them, all these things where you're interacting and you're not really thinking about the camera. If you're the type of person that likes to drink, maybe take a shot or something right before, so you will start to loosen up and be prepared. Now, I'm not saying get sloshed, but sometimes having a little bit of a drink may help. Now, as far as like the physical body, again, knowing some of these tips will make you feel more prepared and make you feel more comfortable. So like posture wise, if I'm sitting up straight versus kind of slouching over, that's going to look different. When you're standing, shift your body weight onto one leg, usually the back leg. Put your hands in your pockets. When you are trying to create a certain emotion, think of that emotion in your head, and your eyes will kind of create that emotion. So like just, think of a certain word like excited or sad, and your eyes kind of, it's really weird how your brain works, but your eyes will kind of make those emotions for you. So just visualizing the word or an experience in your head will kind of make the face do the same thing. And there's a lot of other tips, and I've made other videos just with more tips on the actual body part. But, as far as like just making yourself relax, if you do some of these things, preparing beforehand, making sure all the situations are as positive as possible, being comfortable with your photographer, you're going to come into the situation much better and much more comfortable than if you just, you wear clothes you hate. It's a time of day, it's cold or hot, you don't know the guy, you don't know what's going to happen. So follow these tips and you're going to feel much better about your wedding photos or your engagement photos. You're going to feel a lot more comfortable and you're going to be prepared, and it's going to be a good time and you're not going to hate it. Here I am again with my beanie, and yeah. So like, honestly guys, and you can take a lot of these tips and apply them to any situation where you're worried about feeling comfortable. Find out what's expected of you. Find out what's going to happen. Make sure you're comfortable with the people that you're going to be interacting with. So like, again, going back, if I'm playing board games with somebody, I'm going to feel much more comfortable in the situation if I know the people and I'm really close with them, versus if I'm playing with just some total strangers that I've never met before. And you want your wedding photos, you want your engagement photos, you want to be relaxed, you want to have a good time, you don't want to dread it. Because none of that's fun, but also it will show up in the photos. You can tell when people are miserable in their photos and when they aren't relaxed. But like I said, go through these tips, apply as many of them as possible, and you will be much more relaxed and you will look natural and you'll have a good time and you won't hate it. All right, guys, as always, I hope this was helpful. And if you need help with stuff, reach out. I had someone send me a message like a day ago, and I'm glad that they did, because I'm here to help you, and I would love to help you as much as I can. So I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. See ya.